Mm-hmm.
I hope the recording is going on. Yep, you can go ahead, Ravi. And also you can share the screen
Okay,
if possible.
sure, sure. I'll do. Thank you. Uh, so before we start, let's introduce ourselves. So my name is Ravi, and I'm having 10 plus years of experience. And into Celonis, like I'm having 5 plus years of experience. So while working on Celonis, I worked on different ERP systems like SAP ECC, S4 HANA, and Oracle, and even some custom sources like Insiders, Media's Flow, like that. And while working on Celonis, I worked on different processes like account payables, account receivables, purchase to pay, um, and some other custom processes as well. So on Celonis, have been into the roles of like data engineer, data analyst, and data scientist. This is about me. So you can go ahead next.
Yeah, Ashwita, Suraj, if you are able to give us about yourself so that we can drive the session as smooth as possible going forward. We can understand what is your expectation and what we can provide it to you. Suraj, are you there? You are on mute.
Hello.
Yeah, Suraj,
Hello.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So about my experience, I can say it's a total 4.5 years of experience in RPA developer. Yeah.
Super.
So
Okay.
I'm willing to
Okay.
learn the Celonis. That is my
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
So I'm willing to learn
So
the process mining. Uh, yeah. So yeah.
in this one, RPI also has a process mining capability, right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. RPA UiPath process mining. There. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Yeah, Ashwita, would you like
Yeah.
to introduce yourself? You are on mute, but we are not able to hear you. Yeah, I think lower all hands. I don't know. I think she is not able to uh, voice out. There is some issue over there.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So before we start the session, do you know like what process mining is? Have you heard about it? Do you know anything about process mining by any chance?
Yeah. Just know that it's a process optimization, and if there are multiple processes, we have to optimize it. That's the basic concept I know.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. So I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
Yep. Let me know once you can able to see my screen.
Yeah, we are able to see your screen, Ravi. Before you are going ahead,
Okay. Please.
let me introduce myself. Hi, myself Srikant. Okay, I hope you already discussed or we have already had a word with previously. I also have the same similar kind of experience what Ravi had mentioned. Okay, so some portion of the training I'm going to take you. Okay, and remaining part or maybe Ravi will continue entire Celonis or me or some other person also there. He is also an architect within the IT. So he is working in the itself in the Celonis company itself. Okay, So some crucial parts he will take as training, and I'm going to take you the automation, and Ravi will going to take the remaining process mining, PQL, and other parts. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Yeah.
Ravi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I mean, the process mining definition, like it's an, I mean, normal technical definition is like it's a process mining is a technique related to data science and process management to support the analysis of operation processes based on events. This is the technical definition. I know, I mean, it's difficult to understand, but to make it simple, okay. So process mining is like an X-ray of any business, okay. So business, I mean, for example, so if you take Amazon, okay, so we purchase something from Amazon, right? Like we add something to the cart, okay. Sorry. So we add something to the cart, okay. Then we add our address. We make our payment, okay. Then we place our order, okay. So once we place our order, like from the warehouse or from the nearest hub, they will start shipping our order. Like this is one business, okay. uh, like we can take any kind of a business, okay. So in our example, okay, so we are performing some process steps like adding, I mean, product to the cart is one step, for example, okay. Adding address is one step, okay. Making payment is one step, okay. Then placing order is one more step. Like from process start to process end, there will be like from placing order to receiving order, there will be n number of steps, okay, that may happen within the business, okay. So like not everyone can see all these process steps in a one place, right? So some process steps happen within the app, some steps happen within the warehouse, some steps happen at the hub, nearest hub, okay. Some steps happen at the delivery location, like at different stages. Like some of the process steps will happen, okay. So what this process mining will do is, okay, so using this process mining, okay, so we can collect all the data relevant to these steps, and we can make a process, okay. So we can visually look at the process, or like what's happening within the business, okay.
Yeah, got it.
So any questions so far?
So actually, just one question. So actually, we are just getting the
Mhm.
tasks right from the our process.
Yes, like whatever steps that we do in the business,
Yeah, I get it.
okay.
Yeah.
So every step, like for example, I mean, we placed an order, okay. So
Mhm.
the time when we place the order, okay, the time, what is the product, okay, who ordered this, okay, what is the delivery address, okay. So all these information will be stored in some ERP or in some database, something like that, right? So all these details will be
Yeah.
stored at some different tables,
Mhm.
okay. So this process mining helps us to collect all those data from the different tables, okay, and it
Mhm.
helps us in visualizing the process.
Okay. Okay. But my one question. We are
Uh-huh.
getting the data, right? So we have the data, but
Yes.
what we are doing with process
Mhm.
mining? That's my question. Because in the we can say for the automation, suppose we know that okay, here is the bug and
Mhm.
we have to resolve it or we have to reduce the time. So what will be the
Y-
main feature of process mining?
yeah, I'm going to that.
Yeah.
So this process mining will give us the complete picture of our business, okay, from end to end, okay. So based on the data that we collect, so based on that we can know the complete picture of our business, okay. So like using the process mining, okay, so if we know our process, okay, so within our process, like whatever all the inefficiencies, okay,
Mhm.
that we are having in our process, we can able to identify those inefficiencies. Okay, see, for example, there is one business. Okay, one process, for example, it's maybe you are aware of some account payables, account receivable, some
Yeah.
processes maybe.
Mhm.
If yeah, so like in every business, like in every organization, like these kind of processes will be there. Okay, so
Yeah.
and the standard process will also be there. Okay, so not
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
organizations will perform the operations in a standard way. Like they won't
Yeah.
perform like we do have a standard process, but in
Mhm.
real time that won't happen.
Correct.
Okay, so
Mhm.
this process mining will help us in identifying those kind of inefficiencies within our process. Okay,
Oh. Mhm.
so that like once we identify the inefficiencies, so we can we can identify the root causes for those inefficiencies. Okay, then once we identify the root causes, then we can action on those root causes to make our process into a standard process.
Ravi, I have a small question for you.
Uh-huh.
This is for sake
Yeah.
of other people. So basically,
Okay.
where this process data will reside?
In any ERP system or in any database, you can take any cloud, any
Mhm.
on-premise system. It can be anywhere.
Will this is this process mining will help us for the SAP ERP kind of systems or Oracle ERP kind of systems, right? Mostly, is that right?
Yes, like process mining
Yeah,
is just a process actually, but
yeah,
like what we can do, what to do, we can do. I
mhm,
mean, how we can do is the process mining, but
yeah,
like the implementation we can do basis using some tools like Celonis,
mhm,
Signavio, UiPath, like some process mining tools are available. So using those
mhm,
process mining tools, like we can
mhm,
connect to different ERP systems. We can
mhm.
get the data from
So if
them.
somebody aware
And
of SAP, is this easy for them to know this process mining?
yes, if yeah,
Mhm,
it will be very helpful. Like the
mhm,
Celonis, I mean, I'll go in detail in coming
mhm,
sessions, but the process mining
mhm,
tool Celonis is mainly, I mean, it's built based
mhm.
on SAP system only. Like they took the reference
Right.
of SAP system. Okay, on top of
Mhm,
the SAP system, they built this Celonis tool. So
yeah.
most of the apps or anything like built based on the SAP as an reference actually.
Like account payable, account receivable, purchase to pay. So if somebody knows
Yes.
these kind of details in the SAP, then it is easy for them to grasp this technology, latest technology, right? Because why I'm
Yes,
asking this
it
question
will
is,
be.
there is a
Hmm.
new person is joined, Om. Okay, Om, are you there?
Okay.
You are on mute. Would you like to ask any questions? Because we didn't take the introduction of you. Because when I had discussed with the Om, he has 2 to 3 years of experience on SAP. I
Okay.
told him it will
Mm-hmm.
be good. Initially, he come up for the MuleSoft, but as I
Okay.
came to know that he is from the SAP background, I referred this
Mm-hmm.
technology. Yeah. Om, if you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah. How it
No,
is
no,
going to
sir.
be helpful and
Joining, I
okay.
have joining only to 1 minute, sir.
Okay. Yeah. If
Uh,
you have, you are from SAP background, right?
sir.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions on this Celonis, which is relevant to the SAP or not, how it is going to helpful for you, you can ask any kind of questions. Okay. Thank you.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Selenius or SAP is same, no, sir.
No, no.
Same.
SAP
No.
is different. Yeah. Go ahead. Ravi.
Yeah. SAP is an ERP system, right? And Celonis is a process mining tool. Like using this tool, like we can get the data from different ERP systems like SAP. Okay. So
Mm,
based on the data,
okay.
like we can visualize the process, the business process.
Okay, sir. Okay.
This tool helps us in visualizing the process actually.
Okay,
Basically,
sir.
do you know account payable, account receivable kind of processes in SAP?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So those things you are going to know in detail in the Celonis. Okay,
Okay, sir. Okay.
those kind of process will be evaluated and it will identify the gaps within the process. That one we call them as a process. Okay, yeah. Go ahead,
Oh,
Ravi.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi
So
Shrikant. Sorry to
so I
interrupt
mean,
you. Ashwita here. Sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
Ashwita. Sorry.
yeah, please.
yeah. My mic was modified just now. So hi Shrikant, hi Ravi. I mean,
Yeah.
in the beginning I was unable to unmute my mic and I can't able to speak that time. Just a small
Yeah.
little introduction from my side. Uh,
Okay.
Actually, I have around 4 years of experience, but in Celonis I have
Mm,
2 years experience. At present,
okay.
I'm working on a real-time project in Celonis.
Good.
But I know,
Oh,
I mean, I done an implementation professional in Celonis, and
Mm,
later on I got a job on the base of Celonis. So I'm,
mhm,
I have not a little bit knowledge. I know how to extract data, how to
mm,
connect the data,
mhm.
and related to analysis. I built some of the dashboard recently, but in
mhm,
depth,
mhm,
Ravi, I need to know how to get the insights and how to we find out the root causes in certain. If we take an example like procurement to pay, procurement or
mhm,
P2P.
Okay.
mhm,
So
mhm,
those are the things, Ravi. I'm very much interested to go know all these details.
Okay, fine. Yeah, good to know. Like you have some experience in Celonis. Um,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
So
Before
already,
I
Ravi, I
I
had
have a knowledge
discussed
on
with.
analysis only.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So Ravi,
Shrikant,
I
please go
already
on.
had discussed with Ashwita. I told to her,
Okay.
so there are some challenges, Ravi. We had faced it, right? So direct
Yes.
onboarding this entire template, it won't work. You need to customize it, right?
Yes.
So Ashwita has
Yes.
experience, but she is worked on a template way, but not custom. What you know, and along with
Mm-hmm.
me, right? It's a totally different.
Mm-hmm.
She has just
Yeah, yeah.
started her career. Okay, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Ashwita, we will walk you through the transformation logic and how you need to identify the particular columns or particular KPIs, how to identify and how to create those things. Okay, we will help you out. Okay,
Sure, sure, sure. It will be very helpful. I mean, knowing in depth, step
yeah,
by step, it will be very helpful.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Sure.
Shrikant. Okay, thank you.
yeah. Ravi, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, Celonis is a process mining tool, as I said. Okay. So,
okay.
Celonis uses the process mining to identify the inefficiencies that I mean, what kind of inefficiencies will be there. We'll see some examples in coming sessions. Okay. So, Celonis using the Celonis, like we can identify those inefficiencies and then leveraging the AI and automation capabilities within Celonis, like how we can fix them. Okay, how we can maximize the productivity or capacity, like whatever things that we are going to perform, like we can do all these things within Celonis tool. Okay.
Okay.
So like we discussed some of the advantages, I mean, while discussing so like advantage of process mining, like so using process mining, like we can visualize every step that we perform in our business. We can visualize everything in a real time, how it's happening. Okay. What is happening, how it is happening, when it happened, like all these things we can able to visualize within, I mean, using Celonis. Okay. So once we visualize based on the process, like we can identify the inefficiencies. Okay. So once we identify the inefficiencies, so based on the data, the relevant data for those inefficiencies, we can identify the root causes. Okay. So why for example, let's take one inefficiency as an example. Okay. So let's consider one process, account payables. Okay. So in account payables, so once we receive the invoice, okay, based on some payment terms, like some payment time period. Okay. So we will pay back that invoice. Okay. So
Okay.
for example, there will be some vendors like who will provide some cash discounts on the invoices, like based on their payment terms, like based on their um, quotations, like uh, they will provide some discounts on the invoice. Like for example, if you pay the invoice within 50 days, 50 days, okay, sorry, 15 days, okay, so you'll get 10% of discount within, I mean, on the invoice value. Okay, so if you pay after 10 days, you will get you need to pay full, you don't get any discount like that based on the payment terms. Okay, so these kind of invoices will be there. Okay, so if we pay the invoices within those payment terms, okay, so we will get some cash discounts, right? That is one. Okay, if you pay the invoice late, okay, there will be some penalties as well. Okay, so if you are paying the invoice late, then you need to pay those penalties. Okay, so then you're losing some amount, right? So if you're not paying within those term days, like you are losing the cash discounts. If you're paying after the due date, then you have to pay the uh, penalties. Okay, like if like within the process. Okay, so how many cash discounts are there for you? Okay, how many of them are you are availing? Okay, how many are not? You can able to know based on the data. Okay, so you're not availing these cash discounts. Let's say some 500K dollars, you're missing every month, for example. Okay,
So,
so why
Ravi,
you're
I have a small question. So,
yes.
are these cash discounts or days payable outstanding, all those kind of KPIs? How are we going to identify?
Mhm.
Are we going to identify our SMEs, or do we have Process Explorer, Variant Explorer, these kind of things? The team normally uses to identify initial problem. Then we are going to create the KPI. Is that right?
Yes, I like, because the process,
Yeah.
some people might not know
Mhm.
about the process, like what all steps happen. So I took some
Mhm.
example KPI, the cash day. So it will be easy to
Yeah.
understand. So I took that example actually.
So normally, if you do not
Okay.
use Celonis, then it will take
Mm-hmm.
time for the SAP team to identify these loopholes. Is that right? So basically, Celonis is easy to identify the gaps. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll take one more easy example to understand.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take the Amazon example that I mentioned in the starting. Okay, see, so we placed an order. Okay, they confirmed the delivery date as some particular date within a week. Okay, but they delivered after 1 month, for example. Okay, so if the Amazon is doing like that, like they are mentioning some date and they're delivering products a delay with delay. So like, are you going to purchase products again from Amazon? No, right? So because like they are promising some delivery date and they are delaying the delivery date. Okay, so this affects the customer satisfaction, right? So this delivery, I mean, they are delaying the delivery date. So why it is getting delayed? So we know it's delaying, but why it is getting delayed, we can know based on the data. Using the process mining, we can able to identify the root causes of those delays. Okay, so once we identify those root causes, like we can quantify their impact. Okay, so how can we minimize those delays so that we can improve our customer satisfaction? Okay, so those kind of recommendations, everything we can get to know when we use a process mining only. If we have the tables with the data and all, we cannot know, right? Like for like Amazon is not a business in small town or a city, right? Like it's overall India, overall country, it is there. Okay, so it's not easy to go every city details, every city table kind of details, and check all these details, right? So if we implement process mining, okay, so it can combine data from different tables. Okay, and it will give us a process flow for us. Okay, so that we can identify the inefficiencies, we can identify the root causes of those inefficiencies. How can we minimize those root causes to reduce those inefficiencies. Like how can we make the process standardized? Okay, any
Okay.
questions? We'll go through in detail like some of the examples, like how can we identify, so all those details we can discuss. So I'll just show you the Celonis, like IBC and all. I'll show you. Okay.
Yep. Sure, Ravi. Yep.
Yeah. So just a basic architecture. I'm just showing here. Okay. So on the left hand side, if we take it's an on-premise infrastructure, for example. Okay. So the data lies in any database or any some custom source system. Okay. So this is the data side. Okay. This is our Celonis. Okay. So what we do using Celonis, like we'll extract data from the source systems. Okay. Using some kind of extractors, like example JDBC extractor, or some other database connections. Like using those database connections, like we can connect to the source and we can extract the data. Okay. So once we get the data into our Celonis data source, the like the bottom layer is the Celonis data source. Okay, where we store all the collected data from the source. Okay, it will be stored here. Okay, so on top of the data Celonis data source, like we will create all these like so from the source. Okay, we will ingest the data into our Celonis data source. Okay, so using process mining or task mining, like based on the extracted data. Okay, so we can perform the process mining, task mining. Okay, planning, simulation, visualize the data process. Okay, we can build the action flows on our extracted data. Okay, on top of those, like we can build, like all these we can build based on the extracted data only. Okay, we can build different kind of dashboards. Okay, so we can create different apps within Celonis. So all these we can create on top of the data that we extract. Okay, it's not just we don't use the real data, I mean real raw data. Okay, we'll do some cleansing, we'll do some transformations, like we will modify the data to our requirement. Based on our requirement, we will modify that. How we will modify and how we will do, like I'll show you. Okay, on the left hand side, like the source can be anything, any ERP system, any on premise, any cloud system. Okay, any data lake. Okay, it can be anything. Okay, so you can implement Celonis to any kind of process, not just the processes that I mentioned as example. Even you can implement the Celonis for timesheets as well, like as an example. Okay, so how many of us are submitting our timesheets daily, I mean weekly, like based on our timesheets it will be there, right? So how many of them we are doing, like it can, like we can apply Celonis to any kind of process.
So, Ravi, I have a small question over here. So, in
Okay.
case if the source system is
Mm-hmm.
not available in the Celonis, so basically,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of you need the data, right? So, what kind of, for
Yes.
example, I have a MySQL database. What is the way?
Mm-hmm.
So, as I know,
Okay,
basically, it will
so
use the
mhm.
templates, right? So, if there is a case, if we do not have the templates, so what will be the
Mhm.
case? What we are going to do that?
We have different scenarios, like we can build a custom extractor within Celonis. It's one option. We
Mhm.
can extract
Okay.
the data from the source into different file
Mhm.
formats, like CSV or XLSV, like any kind of
Okay.
formats we can extract, and we can just upload the data into Celonis. Like if it is an
Okay.
SAP, okay,
Mhm.
using ABAP
Mhm.
ABAP script, we can export. I mean, we can export the data from SAP into ABAP files, and we
Okay.
can upload those ABAP files
Okay.
into Celonis. That's also one option.
Okay.
If
Okay,
you have a
okay, okay.
database with the connection details and all, you can just connect, like you'll have connectors, readily available connectors in Celonis. Okay, those
Okay.
extractor connectors are there. So
So,
you
which
just
it
need to
mean even if you do
hmm,
not have the connector also, we can fulfill it either by using the Python or flat files or APIs. Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, we can
And
do.
if the process also, for example, so far we know the API or O2C and all, right?
Uh-uh.
But if we want to build our
Mhm.
own custom process, for example, credit card fraud, right? Those kind of things. So
Mhm.
that is also possible, right? By using the transformation logic, by creating our own custom transformation logic, by sitting with the SMEs and all, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just said one example, right? Timesheets, timesheets
Yeah,
related data
correct.
process, for
Mm.
example. Okay,
Right.
it's
Any process we can build it, right?
uh,
Like
we can
any
build
process,
if
and we
yeah.
can find the inefficiencies. Basically, this Celonis will identify the inefficiencies by once we create the transformation logic, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yep. Thank
So
you, Ravi.
like
Yep.
the scenario, yeah, thank you. So the logic, the implementation, everything will be same for any process. Okay, the only thing that changes is the source. Okay, the table names, the activities. Okay, from business to business, from process to process, the process steps might vary. Okay, so those kind of changes will be there, will only be there. Okay, the rest of the process, how we implement, how we connect, how we do, everything remains same only. The logic wise, everything remains same. Like you just need to modify, like if you understand how to implement for one process. Okay, so you can able to do for any kind of process just by modifying the logic. That's it.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, Ravi. Anyone has any questions, team?
Okay.
No, not
Anything which
from
you
me.
like to ask? Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ravi.
So I'm saying process steps and all things, right? Okay. So in every process, like whatever the step we perform, okay, it will leave some a digital footprint for each process. Okay. So digital footprint is nothing but like if you see this one, this is one digital footprint. If you see this one, this is one. Okay. So what we have in this one, for example, we placed one order. It's number 123. Okay, so in the example I mentioned, right, like order created is a process step here. Okay, when it created, the timestamp. Okay, the number of that order. Okay, so per day, like we'll get a number of orders. Okay, to identify which order, I mean we'll do based on the order number, right? So this is a primary key for us. Okay, so in any process, if we want to identify uh, basis of like, if only if we have the primary keys, okay, then only we can able to identify distinguish like one and the other, right, orders. Okay, so here this is the primary key for us, the order number. Okay, so the first step is the order created. It is created on 12 February 2021. Okay, then the next step is order packed. Okay, this is the next step. Okay, when it packed 13 February 2021, the order number remains same. Okay, because we are looking at one order number, and we are checking, I mean we are looking at different process steps that happened on this particular order number. Okay, if you see, the process step is changing, the time is changing, the order number remains same. Okay, this is what the process we can create based on, if we have these particular fields. Okay, we can able to identify the process and we can visualize the process.
So, which you mean? Let me give an
This
example,
is
team. Okay, 1 minute, Ravi. So let me give you an example. For example, there is a pizza, or maybe there is a online order you are going to place it, right? So each and every step, you are clicking on the button, or once the stage it is moving, or for example packing is a one event. Okay, then once packing is completed, transit, this is one more event. Once transit is completed, delivery, this is one more event. So by combining all these events, we call them as a one case. The case, entire case, we call them as a digital footprint, all this information. So every event has unique ID, activity name like order packed or something like that, and the time of at what time the event is triggered, the step which you performed. So all those information will be reside in a source system like SAP or any Oracle or any other system. Okay, that is what it is. Is that clear, team? Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Ravi.
Okay. So so I mean, so we saw the architecture like is similar to that. Like we identify the source system. Okay, what we will do, we connect to the source system. Okay, we will extract the data. Okay, we will transform the data according to our requirement. I mean, not our requirement, our business requirement. Okay, and then we will set up the data model and all. Okay, in the backend. Okay, and based on that data, that what we create in the backend, okay, we will create different kinds of apps, dashboards. Okay, and all these action flows, like different components will be there, so we can create everything on top of these data that we extract and we transform. This one is common for any process, whatever process you take. Okay, this process, I mean, these steps will remain same.
Okay.
That's the reason I mentioned, like, if you are able to understand for one process clearly, okay, you can able to implement for any process.
Okay.
Yeah, one question, Ravi. So, what will be the outcome from our total overall project?
Yeah, so see, uh, like, we are going to implement process mining for any business process. Okay, to identify the inefficiencies and all those things, right? So
Okay.
so for that inefficiencies, or to identify those, we need to get the data. Okay, we need to transform that, and based on the data we need to create some dashboards, like we need to visualize the data, right? Because
Okay.
the overall thing that we create is for the business people. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they cannot understand the backend table names and all those things. Uh, they can only understand the process wise, the visualizations that we create and all. The overall like uh, like the ultimate goal for implementing Celonis is like to identify those inefficiencies for creating, by creating these visualizations, these dashboards and all. So the last step that we
Okay.
are going to do is the dashboards. I mean,
Let me
how
add
we
some more
visualize the
points over
process.
here, Ravi. So basically,
Hmm.
I think I forgot Suraj, right? So Suraj,
Yeah.
if you see some of the situations, every organization basically they will follow one process. I would say process means
Yeah.
not like account payable or this one, right? So
Hmm.
basically, the business team they will sit and create a BPMN diagram or process map. I hope you are. For
Mm-hmm.
example, credit card process, credit card approval process. The first
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
screening, then manager, then approval limit. This is the process they will define, right? For
Right.
example,
Mm-hmm.
all the times the credit card may not go all these steps, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it may be disconnected at middle of the senior manager level. At the beginning of the stage itself, it may be disconnected, and sometimes some deviations may happen, right?
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
if you want, as a business owner, I want to know. My business is not growing. I want to identify the root cause of the problem, right?
Okay.
So either you have to use the Tableau or maybe a Power BI, some kind of tools to
Yeah.
create the KPIs by manually by yourself,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the business analyst has to sit with you, the developer. He has to go through all the data, where it is storing the data and all, the database columns and all, each and everything he has to identify. He has to tell to the developer, okay, you have to create this KPI to identify, to inform to the business where it is lagging, right? But if
Okay.
I give
Yeah.
you a tool, something like Celonis, which is going to identify these kind of gaps automatically, and also it will tell you what is your to be process and as is process. For example, you defined some steps. Every order has to go these steps. But based on the data, if it is not going, then I want to know where and all it is deviating. Then
Okay.
the Celonis will tell you by giving this is the place where it is deviating is happening, okay, and what kind of steps you have to take and how effective it is, okay, how much pain you are gaining, you are suffering on this particular step. For example, days payable outstanding, okay. So if you are
Mm.
not paid on time, you may lose the discount. If you paid before the due date, then your accounts may not be proper, okay. On time payment, after payment, before payment, and how much discount you have lost, all these things, it is difficult to identify by using the Tableau or Power BI, any other tools, right? But
Mm. Yeah.
Celonis will help you to create all these things by analyzing the process map itself. The process explorer is there, variant explorer is there, case explorer, the case, the how many cases are going by using the, you can define your own to be process where you want to be in the next 50 years or next 10 years, next 5 years. So if there is any gap, how you can automate it. For example, in the Tableau, you identified some gap, okay. So
Mm.
how will you automate
Yeah.
it? How will you fix that problem? But Celonis will help you to fix those problem by using the automation skills, okay, automation capability. In the Tableau, if you identify the gap, then you have to use the MuleSoft or some other technology to fill those gaps. For example, you need to update to the Salesforce or SAP system, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then it is not possible in the Tableau or Power BI. But the same thing is possible with the Celonis, and also it has the artificial intelligence capability. Then it can send the emails, notifications. For example, there is a due date is reaching out, okay. Then it will send an
Mm-hmm.
email to you to fix those problem, okay. You have to take an action immediately, okay. Those kind
Mm.
of things you can gain in the Celonis itself.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
clear, or
Yeah. It's
you
clear.
want me to give some? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Go ahead, Ravi. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. So let's see like how the Celonis looks like, and before that, like uh, I'll just go through the curriculum, like what all we are going to cover. Okay. Uh, I think you already know, but I'll just go once. Okay. So the introduction to process mining. So what all we are going to cover within this introduction. Okay. And so in the Celonis, like there will be some development environment for us for practicing and for training. Like there is an academy portal. So I'll show you like how to set up those. Okay. So how can you start creating I mean the process maps and all within Celonis, like how you can create within the development environment for setting up those, like what are all requirements that we need. I'll show all those things. Okay. So once we like how we can get the data sets from the sources. Okay. How can we get the data from the ERP systems, or uh, using file uploads, like all those things, like I'll show you in this section. Okay. So within Celonis, as I mentioned, there will be many components like process analytics, action engine. Okay, as Srikanth mentioned, like we can send the notifications, right? The emails and all, we can do it using action engine. Okay, so like that, we have process repository, transformation center, apps. Like these are all different components that we have within Celonis. Okay, we'll go in detail on these components separately. Okay, so in the backend, like if we are going to create a project, like how the project will be, like how we create the backend, how we create the front end part, and all those things we'll cover in this one. Okay, and this one is based on the backend, and this one is for the front end. Okay, so in the backend, how we'll extract the data, how we'll create how we'll transform the data. Okay, and how we'll create the data model. So all those things we'll cover in this one. Okay, and once we have the data, how we will create different KPIs, how we will create the process maps. Okay, like and how we'll create different KPIs, dashboards, and all those things we'll see in this section. Okay, and in the front end, some of the components. Okay, so as Srikanth mentioned, like process explorer, variant explorer, some names, right? I mean some component names. So we'll go in detail like how to use this process explorer, variant explorer, like how we can identify the process gaps. Okay, how we can identify the deviations. Okay, so all those things we can see. I mean, these are the available apps based on the data that we'll get. Okay, how we can use those apps to identify those inefficiencies we can see. Okay, so like for Celonis, right? As I mentioned, like back end and the front end.
Sorry, Ravi, actually I didn't mention the entire PQL part. So yeah, there are other PQL language as well, other components. We are going to cover it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Not
So
only
for back
filters
end,
and all, there are so many. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, like the backend and the front end, right? So the backend, the Celonis uses Vertica SQL, okay, for scripting and all, okay. And in the front end, Celonis uses PQL, process query language, okay. So how we how we'll use that, like we'll see in this section, okay. So we'll create so the front end, as I mentioned, right, like we'll create different KPIs, dashboards, and all. So for creating all those, like we'll do it in a studio. Okay, so not OLAP table. Like we'll have so many components. We'll go in detail how we can use all those components. Okay, we will go through all those components. Okay, so once we create those KPIs, like how the validations will happen. Okay, so who all will involve within the validations, like all these things we'll see in the validation and testing section. Okay, so once the validation and all everything is like done, like how whatever the inefficiencies that we identified, okay, what are all the some example root causes, like how we can identify. So those all we can see in this one. Okay, how we can publish and how we can do the versioning of the Celonis, and all those things we can cover in this section. Okay, some of the important accounts that are available within Celonis. Okay, example try Celonis, Snap, and Cello peers. Okay, so all those some of the accounts that we have. Okay, so we'll go through those as well. Okay, and then next the responsibilities of each role. Okay, so as I mentioned, like I worked as a data engineer, data analyst, right? So as a data engineer, what are all job duties or responsibilities that he'll do? Okay, as a data analyst or SME, what are all duties that he'll perform? Okay, so the end user or the business user, what is the role of that person? Okay, and the Celonis admin, like what's the role of Celonis admin? So we'll discuss all those details here in this section.
Thank you, Ravi. Uh, Team, in a nutshell, what we are going to discuss over here is from data import stage to transformation, data model, build, and analytics screens, all those things we are going to discuss. After that, these Celonis projects is a short-term projects. Some of the clients, they may go for the POC, and some of the clients, they may go for 6 months, 1 year projects as well. At the time, you should aware what kind of roles and responsibilities each and everyone has to play. Otherwise, the SMEs, they will put you entire workload on you. To avoid that, you should aware what kind of role you are playing, and what Celonis is guiding the specific work activities and all. Okay. Yeah, this is what it is. Anyone has any questions?
Uh, what will be the average duration of the project?
So some clients, the POC basically it will go for the 10 weeks. Okay. So
Okay.
10 weeks to 20 weeks maximum the POC project will go. Once the
Mhm,
POC is successful, then
mhm.
it may go long run sometimes. Sometimes the
Okay.
clients may drop out because if they didn't find the value which is generated by the Celonis, then they may
Yeah.
drop out. Some
Okay.
clients, what they will do, they will keep on enhance. They will keep on go. For example, there is a project which I know. It is a Salesforce. Sorry, not Salesforce. ServiceNow project. It has been
Mhm.
going on for the last 3 years. They will get the
Okay.
keep on identifying the gaps. Okay,
Mhm.
then they keep on enhance the process to the industry best practices they will follow. Each and every time they will keep on creates the hundreds of screens, analytic
Mm.
screens. Yeah,
Okay.
like you can see just a tableau. Okay, so once the
Okay.
transformation logic and everything is completed, from the time onwards, your job is pretty much easy. Okay,
Okay.
the only critical part on entire Celonis is the transformation logic, okay, and data
Okay.
onboarding into Celonis. Once these two steps are completed, the next steps is pretty much easy. Once you are aware of the data, then you can go good. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank
yeah.
And also to add on to that, like within different businesses, like they not only perform, I mean, they not only do process, I mean, account payables or account as well, they not just only do some of the process, like there will be n number of processes, right? So as a POC, they'll implement for one particular process and for one particular company code or for one particular region. Okay, so once they identify the value that Celonis is bringing to them, okay, so then they are going to implement Celonis for different processes and different reasons. They'll increase, I mean, the usage of Celonis by regions, by company codes, and all those things they'll do.
you. Okay.
And also there is one more thing. So once you identified the gap, to
Mhm.
fill those gaps, you are going to use the automation. The automation itself, it may take some more time. Okay, then after
Okay.
that, then they may come up with the other things as Ravi mentioned. Then the next step also, what they can do is, if some of the situations they don't have the data itself, the source system, they
Mhm.
don't have, everything is a manual steps. Okay,
Mhm.
some users they may copy the data from the Salesforce, some data from the SAP system, they will put together in the Excel sheet. From the Excel sheet, they will prepare an email. From that email template, they will copy. All those things are manual steps, right? So even
Mhm.
those steps to do automation, then they will use the task mining kind of activities. So if you combine all those things, now you have reached some stage. Now Celonis is proposing one more new concept that is called them as a object-centric process mining. Okay. Now,
Mhm.
this is the critical role, critical thing it is going to play going forward. It is going to combine multiple processes and it will give you a holistic view of your entire organization. And
Okay.
that too, this Celonis, why it is going to traction in the market, not now, maybe going forward, okay, is a recession free technology. Basically, any
Okay.
organization, they want to do the cost cutting, or they want to save some money on their budget, right? So
Yeah. Right.
Celonis will help them out to figure out loopholes of their process, where they need
Yeah.
to reduce the cost, where they need to improve the process, where they need to get the customer satisfaction. All those things will get to know by using the Celonis. That's why we call them as a recession-free technology. This is, if everybody is
Yeah.
burning on the recession, this Celonis
Mm-hmm.
itself, it will sustain in the recession period only. Only you can see the best growth in the recession time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, every organization, the sales team, if you have the good sales team, then you will go to the market with this concept basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got it.
Go ahead, Ravi.
Yeah. So I'm just showing you, like, this is the training environment, training IBC. Like, IBC stands for Intelligent Business Cloud. Okay. So once we create the training environment, like, you all can get the access to your training environments. Like, it looks like
Mm-hmm.
this actually. Okay. So on the left side, you can see different different sections here. Like, as we saw in the course curriculum, like the apps, business miner, process analytics, process repository, action engine, transformation center. Okay. And these are all related to the front end. And if you see the back end, like the data integration is the section, like where we do all the back end stuff. Okay. And the machine learning, like we can use the machine learning like to automate, like, to extract the data, like all you can you I mean you can use this machine learning to create those tasks. Okay. Not only just
For
process mining,
example,
you can all.
yeah, let me add
Sorry,
myself,
go ahead.
Ravi.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, team sometimes. Do you know the Chat GPT, right? Nowadays, correct?
Yeah.
So if somebody gives you knowledge base, if Chat GPT itself it is going to create a KPI for you, how much feel or what kind of feel you have, right? For example, I need a DPO, okay, days payable outstanding. If I type in the Chat GPT, so based on the data, it is going to create a KPI and it will give you the KPI code as well, right? So those kind of things which can achieve by using the machine learning concepts as well. Okay. For example, you can create the code in the Python itself, the KPIs. Okay. That is a one advantage. The second
Mm-hmm.
advantage, the Celonis itself, they were utilizing this kind of functionality, Python functionality, to create ChatGPT solution, and they are going to roll it out in going forward, maybe within next uh, 1 month or next, not next 1 month, next 3 to 5 months time, they are going to roll it out. And also, if
Okay.
some kind of KPIs, if it is not possible in the Celonis itself, then you can use the Python to build your own KPIs. And also, you can update the KPI code, the PQL code within the Python itself. Okay. And one more
Mm-hmm.
advantage is sometimes the data which is you are going to get from the client is encrypted data. You're not the client is not going to reveal to the outside the world. So in that case, then you can use the Python to decrypt your code, your data, and upload into the Celonis itself. Okay.
Okay.
And also in the organization level, if you want the Chat GPT, for example, TCS, TCS is want Chat GPT for their processes. Okay, the main head of the department, he will type what is my DPO in my account payable. He will just type it. Okay, then this Chat GPT will go through this entire data, this entire your dashboards. Okay, and it will
Mhm.
give you the result to end user. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope you understand right now.
Yeah, got it.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Ravi. Sorry.
thank you. Yeah. So using Celonis, not only we can do the process mining, we can also do the task mining. Okay. So the task mining, it uses the desktop data, like what are all work that employees are performing. Like that data also we can do. I mean, within the Celonis using the task mining. Okay, using the desktop data and all, we can do that uh, in Celonis as well. For that one, the task mining will help this section. Okay, and the visualizations, the different KPIs, different dashboards, and all those things we discussed, right? Those are all things we can create in the studio. Okay, this is the like working environment. Okay, for the front end, and this one is the like it just only have the view access. Okay, whatever the dashboards or analysis that we create within the studio, okay, all those once we publish, those will appear in the apps for the business users. Okay,
So, which you
and
mean,
one
Ravi? Once you,
hmm,
yeah, sorry, 1 minute. So once, so basically the apps in a sense, team. Once you are going to plug and play kind of template, you are going to create it. Just by passing the data, it will reflect the values on your apps. Okay. For example, in my organization, we are creating some kind of apps which is specific to the specific process. If you convert the data into a specific format which we requested, then you don't need to invest the time on the development again and again. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Ravi. Sorry.
yeah. And also one more thing related to Celonis, like why it is good, because like it has a marketplace. Okay, so where we have different type of connectors, source connectors. Okay, different types of apps, pre-built apps. Okay, so just we once we have the source, using the connector we can easily connect to that, and using the apps, readily available apps, like we can ingest, I mean we can uh, using the ingested data, like we can create the apps. Okay, so we can do all these things are very fast because we have a number of apps and connectors within our marketplace, Celonis marketplace. Okay, so all those templates, everything we can find in the marketplace. Okay, for different processes, different source systems. Okay, different kind of apps and all, everything we can have in the marketplace. We can just need to go and we just need to install it in our Celonis. That's it. Once we link the data, and it will show I mean it will show the app based on the data that we link to the tab.
So which you
Okay,
mean we don't
and
need to write the transformation logic and other things. Just importing the template,
yes.
it will fulfill all the details. Okay. So just you need to
Mhm.
concentrate on the front end.
Yes, and also one more thing, like every year by year, like Celonis is bringing more number of connectors to different sources, more number of apps. Okay, for different processes, for different, like by year on year, day by day, like Celonis, like it's improving its existing I mean technology. Okay, as well as inventing different new apps and all. Like it's building like it's increasing day by day. Okay, so if we are if we are an admin, okay, so I mean the managing of users, the permissions. Okay, so all those things we'll do in the admin and settings, like related to our IBC also, like anything the settings if we want to modify. Like for this one, like we'll have the multi-factor authentication. Okay, if we want to implement that, we can do it in the settings. Okay, so all those things like will go in detail, but all those things we can do in admin and settings. Okay, this one is a profile for our user. It's just a user profile. So this is how
Okay.
it looks. but we'll be going to see each and every section in detail going forward.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you very much. And the team, we are also going to support your certification. Okay, so we will help you out. And if you need job support and assistance, and also we can do that. And we will discuss offline these kind of activities. Okay. Anyone has any questions? Or are we done with this?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, Shrikant. One last question from my end.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
if we start taking this course, right? I mean, how many months? I mean, it in weeks, days, or months, days? Can you specify that thing?
It will basically take 4 weeks to 6 weeks of time. Is that correct, Ravi?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it is going on daily basis, Shrikant. The
Yeah,
session is
yeah,
going
yeah,
on
yeah,
daily
yeah,
basis.
yeah, yeah. So I will take some of the sessions if it is required. Most of the time, Ravi will be there. So I will give you the best practices, industry standards, okay, some loopholes, some good things, okay, each and everything I will bring it up, and some of the critical concepts I will take it, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else which you like to know?
No, Shrikant.
Yeah. Okay, that's all, and I will reach you out after this call, after this meeting. Yeah, Ashwita, is that fine?
Sure, Shrikant.
Yep. Thank you, team. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ravi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.